With the latest dramatic eruptions of Mexico's Popocatépetl volcano, seismologists are on alert. After flying over the mountain, they say they've identified a lava formation filling its crater, and volcanologist Igor Delgado is warning of a bigger, lava-filled eruption that could come at any time.
Eventually, bodies of lava will be formed that will eventually spill over the slopes of the volcano.
For now, all is calm in the nearby surrounding towns. Locals are going about their daily lives. But when Popocatépetl erupted in 2014, 40,000 people were forced to evacuate. Experts say they should be prepared to evacuate again.
If you recall in the video, right when the worst of the tornado comes in, you see these trees just getting completely shredded, and this is what's left of them right now, just stubs and nubs.
I'm meteorologist Kelly Cass, and a heads up, we could see some pretty big storms developing across the southern plains, especially later on in the evening and during the overnight hours. We've got the warm, moist flow coming in from the Gulf, dry air over western Texas. So along that dry line, we could see some pretty big storms initiating and then progressing eastward as we go through the evening hours. So in the danger zone, the red zone, if you will, Kansas City down to Wichita, Kansas, all the way down towards Abilene. You guys need to have a way to get those warnings. Main threat will be large hail, damaging winds, and we can't rule out the possibility of isolated tornadoes. Here's the threat for tomorrow. Still a lot of red on the map right in Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana. 40% chance of seeing tornadoes developing as we go through the day tomorrow. Tune into the weather.
Fill California's major reservoirs, which are still drier than usual after years of drought.
Quite a bit of momentum in the Western Pacific and in a relatively small window of time. Keep in mind that Infa became the 27th tropical storm of the season. It's going to continue to intensify as it passes to the south of Guam over the weekend. So they could
landed on driveways, cars, and porches in Harrison Township. Paul Schluto came home to find this black stuff splattered all over his property. He says he can't seem to get an answer from anyone.
Tooketh away Pluto's status as the ninth planet, giveth a planet back. Through observing large objects in the Kuiper Belt, it's theorized there should be a planet as large as 4 Earths out there. It would have a very weird orbit that would take 20,000 years to complete. Now, there are some that believe that as it gets closer to the sun, it would affect the normal orbits of objects in the Kuiper Belt, throwing them in different directions, including right towards Earth. This includes retired astrophysicist Daniel Whitmere, who says that Planet 9's orbit times out nicely with mass extinction events, and actually believes the planet is on its way back closer to Earth, meaning a near miss or even a direct hit from a large object could be expected as early as today. Advanced technology, we're discovering more and more planets, and the more we do that, the more we find planets that sound like they were thought up by a child with an amazing imagination. 55 Cancri E has been a huge part of that discussion. We know it's very close to its sun, which is called 55 Cancri A, that's very similar to our sun. It's a part of the Cancer constellation, and actually is a binary sun system with a red dwarf in the mix called Cancri B. Now, we first thought 55 Cancri E, which after an online vote is nicknamed Jansen, was covered in a global ocean. Then we thought it was completely made up of diamonds. Now NASA's saying it's even rougher. Being so close to its star, a year is only 18 hours. So it's very hot. It's 4,500 degrees Fahrenheit on the side that always faces the sun. That side is essentially covered in lava, and the backside, which lives in perpetual night, is still pretty hot, coming in at over 2,000 degrees. Now, because the years are so short, there are more than 486 Jansen years in an Earth year. That's a lot of birthdays, but you might not look it. Einstein proved the closer you are to high gravity, the slower the clock winds its hands, meaning eventually the latest beauty youth treatment could be spotted.
Bombarded by debris from supernova explosions at least twice in the past 10 million years. Both explosions were too far away to do much damage, but they might have had unknown effects. The first one happened around the time the ancestors of humans and chimps went their separate ways. The second, around the time the human side started making stone tools. Those early human ancestors would have seen a new star appear in the sky as bright as a full moon. The evidence for the encounters came in the form of radioactive iron dust. Supernovas create a cloud of it, and some landed on Earth. It's not clear what effects zipping through a cloud of radioactive dust would have had on the planet, but the timing of the supernovas roughly lines up to a period of cooler.
Through observing large objects.
You gotta have a look at these UFO clouds. If you've lived in Reno, Nevada, I'm guessing you've probably seen these from time to time, and I don't know, Reno's kind of an area out there toward Nevada, New Mexico, where there is a lot of talk about UFOs, if I'm not mistaken. But